Hello students, welcome to lecture 28. In the previous class, we understood about the principle of phase control in AC voltage controller. In this session, we will be discussing single phase bidirectional controller with resistive load. So by the end of this class, you will be able to describe single phase bidirectional controller with resistive load. So if you recall, the previous discussion what we had in the principle of phase control, we had the circuit as shown here, which we called it as a unidirectional controller because of the presence of diode here. Please recall the waveforms what we discussed in the previous class. So we saw that uh, this is a single phase controller. We call it as AC voltage controller because we can control the power flow to the load using this thyristor, right? So in the positive cycle, in the positive half cycle, the power flow can be controlled by controlling the delay angle or the firing angle of our power device thyristor. Whereas in the negative half cycle, we saw that because of the presence of diode, the output was following the input, right? So since a diode is a uncontrolled device, so when it is conducting, you cannot control the output. The whole input what you're applying will be visible at the load. So hence the name unidirectional controller, right? So because of this thyristor, you were able to control only the positive half cycle. So the power control there was only for positive half cycle. So if you recall the waveforms what we had there, even the current flow in the circuit. So in the positive half cycle, the current flow in the circuit was less than the negative half cycle, right? Because even in the current, because of the power device, the power flow in the circuit was controlled after the power device was conducting, right? So the magnitude of the current in the positive half cycle was less compared to the negative half cycle. In the negative half cycle, the whole source current was visible in the circuit or across the load. So that means it was a unidirectional control, which is not preferred or used in practice. So this circuit what we discussed in the previous class was just to explain the phase control operation in AC voltage controller. All right. So another drawback of this circuit is that it had a DC component in the output, right? So we are talking about AC voltage controller. That means the power fed, the AC signal that is fed at the load, how it can be controlled is what we are discussing. But since in this circuit, because of the presence of the diode, in the negative half cycle, you are not able to control the output. It is complete, there is a DC component, right? So to overcome this, we can connect one more power device in the negative, in this part of the circuit, right? So wherein you can control the negative half cycle as well. So that is our discussion today. We are discussing a single phase AC voltage controller with resistive load. So as you can see, you have your AC input. The load is resistive as you can see here. And you have two power devices that are connected in anti-parallel, right? So in the positive half cycle, T1 will be controlling the output. In the negative half cycle, T2 will be controlling the output. So, um, so if you recall the operation again, in the positive half cycle, T1 will be forward biased, right? T1 will be forward biased. So after you give a gate signal, triggering signal, then T1 will start conducting. So when T1 is conducting, the input appears at the load, right? So there will be voltage similar to the input what you can observe at the load. Again, same as the current as well. the same current, the source current will be visible at the load, right? So in the negative half cycle, where the polarity from the source terminal, this will be positive and this will be negative, which means that T2, thyristor T2 will be forward biased, right? And when you give the gate signal to T2, then T2 will conduct. So that is when again the source will appear at the load. Okay. So recall the waveforms, how the waveforms would be appearing. So in the positive half cycle, T1 is forward bias. After you give the gate triggering signal, say at angle alpha, okay, which means from 0 to alpha, T1 is forward biased. That means at which the uh, supply will be visible here across T1. Only after you give the gate pulse at the gate terminal, T1 will start conducting. So when it is conducting, you know the voltage across these two terminals. When T1 is conducting, it will be minimum, it say 1 volt because of the power divider, right? So T1 will be conducting till the supply crosses 0, right? This is a AC supply. When it till it reaches pi value, T1 will be conducting. Once the supply crosses pi, okay, so that is when now T1 will be reverse biased. So automatically, because of the natural commutation process, this T1 will be turned off in the negative cycle, right? So similarly, in the negative cycle, T2 will be forward bias from pi to pi plus alpha. Pi plus alpha is the time at which you will be giving the gate triggering pulse to T2 to turn it on, right? So from pi to pi plus alpha, T2 will be forward biased. Okay, after you give the gate triggering pulse, T2 will start conducting, right? Let us observe the waveforms there. So the typical waveforms of this circuit is shown here. Okay, so this is your input signal. So these are the gate pulses that is applied for T1. Okay, these are the gate pulses applied for T2. That is, for T1 you are applying gate pulses in the positive cycle. For T2 you are applying at during the negative cycle, right? So let us observe from the voltage across T1 here first. Okay, observe the voltage across T1. So till you give the gate pulse, observe here T1, okay, from 0 to alpha. Say this is the angle alpha at which the gate pulse is provided here. So from 0 to alpha, T1 will be forward biased. That means the supply is appearing across T1. Okay. The moment you give the gate pulse, T1 will be turned on. So it starts conducting. So when it is conducting, you know the voltage across the thyristor will be minimum. So assume it as 1 volt here. It is shown as 1 volt. Okay. So T1 will be when the supply crosses 0, that is after pi, when supply crosses pi value, T1 will be reverse bias and it will get turned off, right? So that is shown here. Okay, now stop here and we will move on to T2. Okay, and I'll come back here again later. So observe the voltage across T2. Voltage across T2, now as you can see, it will be conducting in the negative cycle. So observe it is starting from negative cycle. Okay, the output is shown from the negative cycle. So in the negative cycle, till you apply gate pulse. So let us start here itself. Till you give the gate pulse, so T2 will be forward biased. So you can see the supply voltage is appearing across T2. Okay, after the gate pulse is given, T2 will start conducting, right? So that's why minimum voltage is observed across T2. All right, so observe the voltage across T1 and T2. It is out of phase, right? Because T1 will be uh, conducting in the positive half cycle and T2 will be conducting in the negative half cycle. So since the continuity, it is shown here. Okay, so observe the output voltage from 0 to pi till T1 is not turned on, so there is no output. There is no output across the load. Output is E naught, what you are measuring across the load. There is no output. Once T1 starts conducting, the input signal appears across the load. So you are getting the output here. Okay, this output is because of T1 conducting. Okay, I want to bring to your notice here, T1 is conducting means what? There is a circuit uh, closed, or you can imagine as a switch here. These power devices are switches. So when switch is closed, there is a completion of the circuit, right? So when imagine there is when completion of the circuit, that means what you are giving here, what you are applying here will be appearing at the load. So that is what we can see here, the output. The input voltage is same appearing across load. All right. So of course there will be some drop, what we saw here. There will be drop because of the power device, which will be very minimum, right? Okay. So once the input signal crosses pi, now T1 will be turned off. As we know, T1 will be turned off. So there will be no output from value pi to pi plus alpha. So during this time period between pi and pi plus alpha, there will be no output because no device is conducting now. T1 is turned off because of the natural commutation. So in the negative half cycle, at pi plus alpha time, if you are giving a gate pulse to T2, okay, now in the negative half cycle, T2 is already forward bias. When you give the gate pulse, it will turn on, right? So when it turns on, it is conducting. That means again, it is acting as a switch and it closes the circuit. So the input appears across the load, right? In the negative half cycle where input is negative, so you can see the output across the load is shown here in the negative half cycle. So this will continue. So in the again between pi 2 pi plus alpha duration, that is in the positive cycle, T1 will be forward bias, but you are still not turned on. So there will be no output. Once you turn on with the gate pulse, there is the output. Okay. Again from the duration 2 plus 2 pi plus alpha, that is 3 pi and 3 pi plus alpha. Sorry, 3 pi and 3 pi plus alpha. During this duration, where T2 is forward bias, but you are not given the pulse yet, output is 0. So after you give the gate pulse, it starts conducting. So that continues. If you observe, the current waveform is similar to the output voltage, right? Even the current also will be similar to what you can see as the output voltage. So the waveforms what is shown here, please don't get confused. VT1 and VT2, you can imagine these are the voltages that is measured across these 2 points. All right. So when you measure across these 2 points, it will be like this. So from 0 to alpha, it will be the voltage across these 2 points will be like similar to the supply what is applied. So after it starts conducting, it will be 0. So in the negative half cycle, negative cycle, T2 will be forward bias. So the same input is appearing here. Okay, when it is turned on, it starts conducting. So the voltage across is shown as minimum or 1. Okay, so these waveforms give us clear picture how the single phase AC voltage controller with resistive load can operate or can function, right? So as you can observe from the waveforms, it is clear that the DC component is removed. So even in the positive and negative offset, both the cycles, both the time period, the input is the output is controlled by the power devices. Okay, the moment you decide when to turn it on, okay, so that will decide the power flow in the output, right? And one point to note here, so T1 and T2 are triggered separately, right? T1 and T2 are um, separately triggered, in the sense they both have different triggering circuit, but there are different configurations where you can design the circuit in such a way that, see, when you have different triggering circuit, that means you need a separate gate triggering circuit for T1, you need a separate gate triggering circuit for T2, so that will complicate the circuitry, right? So in order to simplify the circuit, there is again different configurations where you can use single gate triggering circuit, okay, so which can turn on both the device, but one in the positive cycle, the other in the negative cycle. So I give it to you as a self study. There are different circuits shown in the textbook there, different configuration, that is using two extra diodes there, and shorting both the cathodes and anodes of the power device. You can use single gate triggering circuit, which can turn on both the power devices uh, together. Okay, one gate triggering circuit can be used for both the devices. All right. So now, as we can see, the output has a AC component, the controlled AC output, right? AC signal. So the RMS output voltage can be obtained. So if you imagine, if your input ES is given by root 2 ES sine omega t, if that is our input voltage, and assuming that the firing angles of thyristor T1 and T2 both are same, that is alpha 1 and alpha 2 both are alpha, the RMS output voltage can be obtained using this expression, where E naught is our RMS output voltage given by 2 times 1 by, 2 by 2, 2 pi. 2 pi is for the complete one cycle. That is where the output we are assuming for 2 pi radians. Okay. Since the output is same for both positive and negative half cycles, we are taking 2 into 2, right? So within the limits, you are taking alpha to pi, and your input root 2 ES sine omega t. So root square of this input, right? So 2 into ES square sine square omega t du omega t, which is under square root sign, because it is a root mean square output. Okay. So substituting again here the trigonometric um, equation there, you get 4es square by 4 pi alpha to pi 1 minus cos 2 omega t d omega t. So this is the expression es into, if you take it outside, es into 1 by pi, within brackets you have pi minus alpha plus 2 sine alpha by 2 whole under square root, where es is your RMS input, right? Input signal, right? So by varying alpha between 0 and pi, the output can be controlled from RMS input voltage ES to 0. So here, as we can see, the output is completely AC controlled. Okay, so there will be harmonics of the output quantities which can be measured, okay, or which can be calculated using the Fourier series. So the output voltage E naught, that is the harmonic output voltage, which means that measuring the AC component in the output voltage, can be represented or got by the Fourier series. So E naught, you can take it as the two components A and B, okay, where A n sin omega t and B n cos omega t summation together will give us the Fourier series, which is nothing but the representation of the AC component. Okay, so where an is 2 by pi 0 to pi e naught omega t sin n omega t d omega t. Okay, I hope you know all this. And bn is given by 2 by pi 0 to pi e naught omega t sin cos n omega t d omega t. Okay, so the load voltage during the positive half cycle, we know we get the output between alpha to pi, right? So E naught will be Em sin omega t between alpha and pi. Substituting all those limits here. So An will be 2 Em by pi alpha to pi sin omega t into sin n omega t d omega t. So substituting the trigonometry here and applying the taking the integration of sine and sin n omega t, you get an will be em by pi sine n plus 1 into alpha by n plus 1 because of this component minus sine n minus 1 into alpha by n minus 1. All right. And bn is given by 2 times even em by pi alpha to pi sine omega t into cos n omega t d omega t, right? So again, applying the trigonometry, you get bn to be given as this, where you know em is nothing but root 2 into es, where es is the RMS value of the source voltage or the supply, right? So by substituting n for 1 to 135, cos n plus 1 pi will be equal to 1 and cos n minus 1 into pi will be equal to 1. So you will get the peak amplitude of the nth harmonic output voltage ENM and the phase angle. So which can be given by which are given by ENM is equal to under the root an square plus bn square, and phi is phase angle is given by tan inverse bn by an. I hope you know all these components there. Okay, so the current INM, that is the nth harmonic component of the current, obviously can be given by ENM by R, which is the nth harmonic load current. Okay, so that is about single phase bidirectional controller with resistive load. As you can see, this circuit will give us the output, which is AC control, where you can control the output both in positive half cycle and the negative half cycle using a power device, right? So that's why, since you are able to control both the cycles of the input, it is called bidirectional controller. Okay, so that is what we have discussed about the resistive load. In the next session, we will be discussing about the RL load, where even if there is inductor in the load, if the load is inductive, then how the output would be varying. Okay, go through. If you have any clarification, please get back.